Broadcasting live from the Business RadioX studios in Atlanta, Georgia, it's time for Atlanta Business Radio. Brought to you by OnPay. Built in Atlanta, OnPay is the top-rated payroll and HR software anywhere. Get 1 month free at onpay.com. Now, here's your host.
Lee Cantor here, another episode of Atlanta Business Radio, and this is going to be a good one. But before we get too far into things, it's important to recognize our sponsor, OnPay. Without them, we could not be sharing these stories. Today on Atlanta Business Radio, we have Mark Wilson with Chime Solutions. Welcome, Mark.
Good morning, Lee. Glad to be with you this morning.
Well, before we get too far into things, tell us about Chime Solutions. How are you serving folks?
Well, Chime Solutions, as you well know, is in the outsourced call center business. We basically provide great customer service on behalf of our clients. We do that in a variety of ways and a variety of different business sectors today that we're providing that service.
So tell us about how you got started. What was kind of the impetus for getting Chime off the ground?
Well, Chime has its roots in this is our second iteration of being in this business. The first was Ryla Teleservices, which we started, a number of years ago, early 2000, and grew that up and actually sold that company 2010. And so a little restlessness set in with me and my leadership team. So we put the band back together, and we're back with Chime for version 2. Much wiser and much more experience about the sector and how it is that we could, in this instance, make a bigger impact in the community as well.
So now, how are you going about doing that? And what was kind of the rationale behind becoming like this kind of a more socially conscious enterprise?
Well, we just know that at the center of our business model is job creation. So it just felt like there was a lot of hidden talent in the cities that we had interest in, and where we are today are in Atlanta, Dallas, and Charlotte, and looking to expand that, around the country. But the idea really was spurred from the, really trying to provide great customer service and trying to source the best talent. And we know that a lot of that talent is pent up in communities that have traditionally been underserved. So it just made good business sense for us to invest in those areas and, set up our operation there and start to, provide opportunities to those folks that I know would be in good support of our customers. And it's worked out fantastically. All of our customers today are referenceable customers.
Now, when did you know that you had some traction when you decided to pursue this direction?
Well, we started in Atlanta, and we, the model has investing in the community, right? So we went into an old shopping mall that had an abandoned JCPenney's, and we repurposed that JCPenney's and made it into a state-of-the-art call center with 1,500 seats. And we had real success there. And it, just made us think that, there are, pockets of talent like this across the whole country. So we just expanded our reach and started talking to our customers about doing more business with us on the basis of us attracting and hiring this talent and, being a good partner for them. So it was the success of Atlanta that really was the spark for us to try to do this more globally.
And then from a customer acquisition side, was this something that struck a nerve with your clients to be able to do this kind of social good as well?
Yeah, I mean, it just makes really good sense that, a lot of the major corporations around the country are looking to invest in and have impact in communities. And it's hard for them to figure the path to do that without it being just philanthropic. And so this way, they're already outsourcing the work to me and others. Why not outsource that work with purpose? So in other words, place the customer service work that they do today with me and us by extension, having that work being completed in communities that they care about. And so it's a good partnership. Everybody's winning in this equation. Our clients are getting great customer service. Our folks are being gainfully employed. The communities that they live in are getting the benefit of the increased investment, the actual tax base being, impacted in a positive way because there's more folks that are working and spending in the communities that they live. Everybody's winning here. So it's not, I want to be careful when we're talking about, our model to not have it be seen as some social mission. It's actually a really good business proposition that has very good social outcomes.
Right. Well, it may not be your intention to be a social mission, but it is serving a purpose in that manner. Yeah,
for sure. I'm not trying to downplay the fact that we are with intention trying to have an impact in the community. But I don't want that to dismiss the fact that it's on the back of great business being done and us providing great customer service to our clients.
Right. I think it's a wonderful example of this isn't charity. This is a valid, productive business, and that you're able to also do social good. So I think this is what most businesses are striving for, that kind of an outcome where you are having a meaningful impact and you're not sacrificing anything in order to get that.
Yes, sir. It's well said, what you just said. It's exactly what we're trying to accomplish.
Now, are your clients, are these clients that maybe had outsourced their customer service maybe overseas and they're now finding they can get that same kind of quality in America?
Yes, in a couple of examples, that is the case where recent, relationships that we've established have been because there was an interest in moving the work back onshore. COVID has been impactful in that some of our customers are seeing that they have a lot of risk pent up in some of these offshore destinations, and our model offers an alternative to that. And so we're definitely taking advantage of it today.
Now, talk about COVID a little bit from your standpoint of executing on this. Are your folks all going into a physical center, or is this stuff that they can be doing from their home?
Now, we're definitely focused on the safety aspect of our employee base. And so when the onset of COVID, we pivoted and moved all of our folks from the brick and mortar physical location to work at home model. So we have our folks, transitioned home for the most part.
Now, how has that transition been? Because that sounds like that's a pretty dramatic shift in how you previously had been doing business.
It definitely is very different. But, we've learned a lot about how to do this effectively and the benefits that it has to the people that work for us to stay, gainfully employed, the continuity aspect that we're providing, our clients, all that's been good. And we just needed to make some technical adjustments to facilitate it, which we've been able to successfully do. So it's worked out really well.
Now, when you did make that transition, is this something you see moving forward post-pandemic that you're going to be able to leverage this, or you think that post-pandemic you'll go back to your previous model of, like the state-of-the-art centers?
Definitely learned a lot here, and we feel like the go-forward model is going to be some hybrid between, working in the office and those that work from home. I think a healthy balance between the two is where we see things, headed.
Now, how are you handling the training and onboarding of new call center employees remotely? Has that been a challenge, or is that just part of the adjustments you had to make during this pandemic?
It is definitely just one of the adjustments that we've had to make. We're just doing everything virtually now. The training is done in a virtual way. The aspect of, coaching and monitoring, interacting with our people is just done virtually versus, to be able to touch and feel folks in the, pre-COVID world. We've just had to make those adjustments, and, it's just a business adjustment that we've had to account for.
So can you share a little bit about the partnership with the historically Black colleges and universities? How did that come about, and how does that come into play in your organization?
Yeah, I really appreciate that question because we're really proud of this work. So in the outsourced BPO space, one of the inherent challenges that we have has to do with absenteeism and attrition. And so we wanted to think about a solution that would address the absenteeism part of this and have a positive impact on attrition as well, and us being able to manage through, when that happens. So we just started thinking about a captive audience of on-demand labor and where that would exist. And colleges and universities was our first thought. And because we're, focusing on the community of folks that have traditionally been underserved, we thought about the historically Black college community to start the project with. So we internally created an app called Chime In. And what happens is that if a person is absent from work, one of our full-time employees is absent from work that day, what we've done is train cohorts of students. We have a couple of schools now, Wilberforce University, which is our nation's oldest privately owned historically Black college up in Wilberforce, Ohio, and Paul Quinn College, which is out in Dallas, which we have a location there in close proximity. We've trained student cohorts at both those schools on a couple of our client relationships so that when a full-time person doesn't come to work that day, we're able to, via the app, send out a notification to the cohort of students. Those students get to then make a decision if they have the bandwidth, to take the work, and they opt in, and they can work the schedule. So it keeps, us on par for what we need to in providing, service to our clients. But it also provides an educational opportunity for the student at the HBCU, and they're developing a relationship also with our end client that we're hopeful and that it facilitates an opportunity for them to then go work for that company upon graduation. So again, it's one of those, matching, a business need with a real good social outcome that we've achieved here in this Chime In model. The program is called Chime In.
Now, is that ongoing, or you're beta testing it now?
No, it's ongoing. We have we're about to put the second cohorts in both those schools, and we're looking to expand to different other colleges over the course of this year. We formalized it. We keep making improvements to the app and the technology that supports it, and putting leadership in place that's going to drive the relationships at the university. So we're in expansion mode with it right now.
So now this is, like you mentioned, this is kind of the second iteration of this type of a business. How is it going from you personally, from being involved in this from the beginning? Is this going as you anticipated? Are you kind of more bullish about it and excited about the future, going into 2021?
Absolutely. I'm feeling really energized and excited about the opportunity. I've never been busier as a leader in the company. And it's about fielding all the opportunities that have been, that we've been afforded by presenting this model out there in the marketplace. It's been heavily subscribed to, and we're in conversations with a lot of major corporations at the moment, and have had several significant wins recently. So, and it has me, really energized, because the social aspect of it is really important to me. But I also like that we're in a position as a company to provide a solution that's exciting for our clients as well.
So now let's walk through this kind of client. Who is the ideal client for you?
Well, what we do is provide customer service. So in and of itself, that's fairly generic. It is just different from customer to customer as to what type of customer service that they need. So we've not tried to focus on any one vertical or any one sector. We work with our clients for whatever their customer service need is, whatever sector, to source the right profile of a person to handle that work, and and be a good partner. So, it's a long-winded way to say that we don't have any particular focus. We're focused on what we do, which is provide great customer service.
So now the pain the client is having is that they've grown to a point or they don't have the resources to handle internally all of the customer service needs, and that outsourcing it is a more efficient manner of serving their clients?
Well, I think it's more that companies want to focus on what their core competency is and not do and invest in the things that are not necessarily that. And so customer service is just something that's in support of what most companies do. And so this is a way to keep efficiency and focus in their organization. And it is a way of cost reduction as well. And we do represent a way that companies, look to save money from what it costs them to do this internally. So those two reasons, I believe, are why there's a vibrant outsource market and why companies make the decision to outsource.
Now, is the customer service happening kind of pre-sale, post-sale? Like, can it happen at any point? Like, when does
it could happen at any point. Anytime there's a customer interaction that needs servicing, and at any point of the life cycle of a relationship between, a customer and the company, we can participate and play in.
And then the solution, are your employees, are they kind of reading scripts, or they're able to also kind of have an extemporaneous conversation, problem solve and do things like that? Like, what is kind of the limits of your service, or are there limits?
Yeah, I don't know that I would look at it from a limitation standpoint. Really what happens is our clients give us the information that they need and the way that they'd like the interaction to go. And they train us on that. We certify people in that methodology, and then we train our people on it. So it's just defined by what our customers are really looking to have take place in the interaction. And we teach our people about that.
So for a company that hasn't outsourced their customer service before, what does that onboarding look like?
Well, it's about defining what the scope is, how much volume, how much customer traffic do they anticipate, and us as a partner, helping them to decide on what the ramp plan that it would be with us that we would put in place to get us to a place where we have the optimum number that they're looking for us to put to work for them. And there's just a series of steps that have to do with that. The technology setup, us doing the hiring and recruiting, based on the profile that's been given, then the training that occurs, and then the actual performance of the work.
And then there's checkpoints throughout to kind of audit to make sure everything's going as planned.
Absolutely. There's a project plan, and generally on the customer side, there's a vendor management team that stays close to our team and what we're doing to successfully ramp a program up.
And then what are some of the metrics for success that companies use to make sure that this is doing what it's supposed to do?
They all generally center around customer satisfaction and some levels, customer satisfaction scores. There are some specific things that dictate that, like the average speed to answer the call, the duration of the call. I mean, there's just, a variety of metrics that feed into overall customer experience that we're charged with fulfilling.
Now, how does your team kind of, blend into your customers' culture? Like, your culture is the Chime culture represents a certain culture, right? Like, you have your own unique culture. How do you kind of blend that into whatever your client's culture is? How does that kind of happen? Because that seems to me a little tricky, because it has to be congruent in order for the customer to feel like your service is almost invisible.
Yeah. Well, in the training part of this and through the diligence and vetting that potential clients perform on us, they seek that out and generally don't hire companies that don't have an approach or values that are consistent with theirs. So generally the relationship starts off with there being an understanding that the cultures are aligned. The specifics of what happens there, we do things in support of our people, that don't necessarily have to do with what it is our clients want them to portray in the interaction. So they kind of get to be a little separate, after, at a certain point in a relationship. In other words, us having a focus on people having a positive attitude and that is how we go about things. And our clients may want us to portray something slightly different in the interaction. It's easy for us to do because they generally do not run in conflict, and we see it more, as a responsibility, for us to kind of make sure it happens on behalf of our clients, is the way that I would answer that.
Now, recently you received a $30 million investment. What do you need more of right now? How are you going to use that to fuel the growth in the years ahead?
Well, cash is king. It continues to be that. And so, we just needed to put the proper capitalization structure in place to be able to, effectively grow our business for the client demand that we have today. So that was the purpose of seeking a partner. And we're excited and happy that we have the partner that we do in BBH. And looking forward to, executing on our potential here now.
And so what do you need more? More clients, more talent, more employees?
Yes. All of those apply. We're a growing company. So, we're going to need to expand in our talent base and pool for, the responsibilities that come with growth. It's, everything that has to do with growth that we're going to need more of, for sure.
Now, any lessons that you'd like to share for aspiring entrepreneurs, and maybe even especially those that are coming from underserved environments? What are some advice or kind of must-haves or must-dos if you want to really take an idea that you have in your head and really launch it and be successful with it?
Well, the fact is that there are a lot of ideas out there. Everybody has an idea. Those that are generally successful are those that put in the work. So you got to put the work in. It's not a negotiable thing. If you're to be successful, be studious about what it is that you're, endeavoring to have as a business, and make sure that you, from those learnings, put into practice things that are going to ensure that business can thrive. Network, make sure that you're putting yourself out there so that you can be in contact with all those folks and organizations that could be helpful to your company as you formulate and grow it. Those would be the main things that I would say are important.
Well, Mark, congratulations on all the success. You're doing important work, and we appreciate you. If somebody wants to learn more about Chime, what's the website?
It's www.chimesolutions.com.
Good stuff. Well, thank you again for sharing your story today.
Yes, sir. Thanks for having me. Really appreciate it.
All right. This is Lee Cantor. We will see you all next time on Atlanta Business Radio. And remember, this work could not be possible without the support of our sponsor, OnPay. Please support them so we can continue to share these important stories.
Today's episode of Atlanta Business Radio is brought to you by OnPay. Built in Atlanta, OnPay is the top-rated payroll and HR software anywhere. Get 1 month free at onpay.com.